NFL merchandise came out. Brady's number one in the NFL. So Tampa's the number one market for him selling merchandise. Like Boston's number 2 or 3. New York's up there. Orlando, Miami. So Tom is still selling a lot of merch up in Boston, his old stomping ground. And he still has nice things to say. Yesterday he was talking about the Patriots and what a good time it was. And here's Tom Brady talking about his past, and it just has such warm feelings about it.
Obviously, anytime you change teams, you don't know how it's going to go. But I think there's been incredible support that I've had from, all the, the team I used to play for, all the New England fans. And, I still obviously have a great affection for New England. And, I said the other day, my kids were born in Boston. So, I have a lot of love for Boston and all of New England and the incredible support over the years. Again, it was an amazing 2 decades of my life.
Am I the only person, and maybe I am, but the Patriots now with Brady feels like a long time ago? They're irrelevant. Tom's going to be the only guy that gets 2 statues, one in New England, one in Tampa. They're irrelevant. They're so bad and Tom's so good, they don't matter. And remember this, and we kind of predicted this. We said, in Boston, the Patriots aren't the Celtics or the Red Sox. They're not even the Bruins. Those teams, Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, the Red Sox history, the Celtics, Bill Russell, those teams were dominant in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Even if the Red Sox weren't winning titles, they were such a part of the sport. I'm a kid that grew up in Seattle. In the 70s, here comes Freddie Lynn and Jim Rice and Louis Tiant and Carlton Fisk. Like, the Red Sox were a draw then. In the 80s, they were better than the Yankees. That's never been the Patriots. The Patriots were a mess forever. The stadium was a mess. Didn't make any money. Miami, was the team on the coast, or it was Pittsburgh, or it was the Giants. They were a mess forever before Tom Brady. Parcells was good for about 45 minutes, but he left. Pete Carroll came in. That didn't work. That's why they've never had any sustained success without Brady. Hell, Belichick couldn't win the year before Tom started, and he couldn't win the year after he left. I just don't think New England ever understood in the moment how much of this, how transformative Tom was as a personality. Do you know there are 123 professional sports franchises in America? Tampa Bay had the worst winning percentage of all of them, and they're in the Super Bowl. The Patriots are just not a relevant franchise. They never were. The Celtics, even in down years, you can feel them lurking. When the Red Sox are down this past year, they're rebuilding, they'll be back. The Bruins have always been good on analytics. They're always around the playoffs. They feel relevant. New England was a mess. They had a messy stadium deal. They almost went to Hartford. They were quirky. They were weird. They had that Razor guy owned them for a while. Remember that Remington guy or something? Just a mess. And then Parcells said, "Get me out of here." And Pete Carroll couldn't work. And I just don't think. I think New England never understood. Not that they understood Tom was great, but when you're not historically relevant, and then you suddenly get relevant, you can talk yourself into, we something here. We good. We special. New England's not. Patriots aren't. We're not. My whole life. I was a kid. Never talked about the Patriots. When I was a young kid, when I was starting to love football, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, it was Steelers, Raiders, Miami Dolphins. And then as I got older in high school and stuff, the Broncos started getting good. The Steelers were still good. 49ers were getting good. And I got a little older in my 20s, 30s. Oh, here come the Cowboys with Jimmy Johnson. And the Niners are good again. Giants. Oh, watch out with the Giants, Parcells. And then, we've segued. There was never a moment before Brady took over the starting job where the Patriots were a national team. Ever. Packers were invisible for 25 years until they got Brett Favre. What do you think the Patriots were? So it is. It's the only game 1 year removed. The only national TV game this year New England will be invited to is the one where they host Tom Brady. He'll be on 10 of them. They'll be on one, the one Tommy comes back to beat Belichick. Aaron Jones of the Patriots.